Kings and Heroes is a World of Warcraft-inspired online RPG dungeon crawler. Created by a small studio called Industry Games, it's easy to see where they draw their influences from. In my time playing the game, I experienced several bugs, and the world felt surprisingly empty. All the makings of an online dungeon crawler are here, but the game misses the mark with pulling it all together. Bloomy graphics and a strong intro gain interest early, but holding it is almost impossible with the bugs and generally unpolished feel. Before I can summarize the game, I have to talk about the litany of bugs and running issues. I played Kings and Heroes on my custom rig and still faced constant issues. Frame rate drops were common, and I found myself wondering what was a visual hiccup and what was an artistic direction. From holes in the skybox or a small jump getting me stuck in a tree, bugs were omnipresent. Enemies sometimes fall through the floor while still attacking you, and you can clip the camera through the walls, showing the rest of the world. While exploring the overworld, I kept getting spontaneously teleported to the main town. With no explanation as to why, this was especially frustrating. All the little bugs weren't game-breaking, but they were annoying. For the most part, the game rendered decently and the environments are okay looking. Dungeons in particular look better than the hub world. Even though all the dungeons are procedural, they all seem well put together. The cave-themed dungeons in particular deserve mention. The hub overworld seems haphazardly slapped together, especially in comparison to the random dungeons. Perhaps the best location of the game is the respawn area where you find yourself after dying. It feels like a hellish underworld and really makes death feel more impactful and game-changing. There are quest givers, but they don't really tell you where to go in order to do the quests. Unlike most RPGs, which usually handle questing by giving you a journal entry on what they wanted you to do, in addition to some lore or fluff. Heroes and Kings simply gives you an objective with no details. Once a quest is accepted, you're told to go to a place, do a thing, and gather the stuff. That's it. It just tells you what you have left to gather or kill. The NPCs aren't really fleshed out. They'll ask you how you're doing, but don't have any other options for dialogue in the text. The shops all feel fairly useless since rewards are plentiful and it's easy to find anything you could need in the dungeons. With such an unrewarding interaction loop, you'll be anxious to get back to the fighting and questing anyway. At the start, you are given 7 different races to choose from, including Orc, Goblin, Human, Dwarf, Elf, Amarian, and Halfling. Each start with different advantages to your character from common RPG stat categories: Charisma, Constitution, Dexterity, Intelligence, Strength, and Wisdom. All the usual archetypes are here. Each of the 5 classes have a somewhat differing playstyle, from ranged weapons and casters to healers and tanks. The classes are Champion, Ranger, Cleric, Wizard, and Rogue. After choosing from these options, you decide your ethical alignment. It's standard D&D with options ranging from lawful good all the way to chaotic evil. The gameplay was not affected by this choice as much as you would think. The combat itself is a mixed bag. It uses a hotbar system showing all of your abilities, similar to many MMORPGs, which Heroes and Kings seems to be trying to emulate. None of the combat abilities seem powerful, even if they end up killing enemies. The animations never feel like they have any weight behind them. Many will feel right at home with the controls, but the overall feel is loose and unimaginative. Beyond the classic way to obtain equipment in the dungeons, you can also craft items in the hub world. There are currently 5 crafting skills available. They are Weaponsmith, Armorsmith, Alchemy, Leathersmith, and Tailor. A 6th, Enchanting, is planned, but it is not yet available. Each of these skills have a trainer around the hub world that will sell you recipes for what you can craft. You can also take the items you find in the dungeons and break them down into base items that you can use to create new items. While these skills seem great to have, at least in their early levels, you usually end up finding better gear in dungeons than you can create. Kings and Heroes is Industry Games' first entry to the market. Overall, the game is decent and enjoyable to play. It's a smaller and more affordable option for those that want to scratch the ORPG itch. In its current state it functions, but any eager gamers should still wait until the next few updates go live before purchasing. For cultureofgaming.com, I'm Brody Waddell.